So graphing inequalities is going to piggyback on what we've done with just graphing linear equations. So a lot of similar skills, except two important differences, and that is what type of line we're going to use. So we don't always use a solid line. For graphing an inequality, we only use a solid line for these two symbols, all right? The less than or equal to, or the greater than or equal to. So understand that that is a solid line because all of the points on that line are answers. They are all solutions. Now, we would use a dotted line, which is very different. Haven't really done any of that before. If we have a less than or greater than symbol. All right, so you really just put dashes on your line as we go. Quick check here about a question. And we also have to shade the answers, okay? So with inequalities, there's more than just one answer. There could be several answers. And sometimes that is above or below the line. And the answers are above the line when we use the symbols greater than or equal to. And we shade below the line when the symbol is less than or equal to. And that can tend to be the trickiest thing for students. So we'll spend some time going over that. But I've only got two examples for you. So let's make sure we're paying attention because quality is better than quantity, especially when we're virtual learning. Okay? So here we go. We're asked to sketch the graph of y less than or equal to negative 2x plus 4. Again, just like we did with linear, it's important to find the slope and the y-intercept. Still having students with trouble with this, so remember the m is in front of the x and the b is the number that has no variable attached. So this is pretty straightforward. The m is negative 2, which we could put over 1, and the b value is 4, the y-intercept. Okay? Now before we go too much further, we have to make sure we know what type of line we're going to use and how it's going to be shaded. And we can tell all of that just based on the sign, all right, on the less than or equal to. Go ahead, look at the top there. Because it's equal to, this is going to be a solid line. The answers will be on the line. And because it is less than, we will shade below that line. So these are two very important things that are different about graphing an inequality versus graphing an equation. But what isn't different is where we start. We still start at 4 on the y-axis. So go up 1, 2, 3, 4 from 0 and put your first point. And then from there, come up with the other points by rising and running. So remember, this is the rise and this is the run. So this means we're going to go negative 2. So down 2 and right 1, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. Okay? We could keep going, but I think we get the hang of where that's headed. We also could have gone up and left. That's a positive move with a negative move, up and left. Once we have enough points, remember to seal the deal, connect, extend, arrows, and labels. And these are all important things because I need to connect the points with a straight line. I need to extend it so I can show all the points that are answers. I need to put arrows on it. And that would be it if I was graphing a linear equation. But this is an inequality. So there's one more step, and that is how we shade. So let me talk about how to shade. Look at the y-intercept. We said that this was positive 4, right? So the symbol was less than. Now, if it's less than, it said shade below. What's below 4? All these numbers on the y-axis, right? 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2. These are all less than 4. So that means I'm going to shade this side, the side that is technically below the line. Okay? If you have any... All right, so for the next one, very similar. It's got y by itself is what we need in order to come up with the slope and the y-intercept. Next class we'll be actually solving for y, but this one, it's already done. So again, the slope. Ooh, I'm going to ask a poll question real quick. So the slope of the line is 2, which we could always put over 1 because we're dividing it by 1, which doesn't change the fact that it's 2. We can consider it a rise and a run. Now the b value is negative 5. So what does that tell us? Where to start. But before I get started, I want to look at this symbol right here. And this symbol is saying greater than. And so greater than only means that it's a dotted line. Okay, and since it's a dotted line, we're going to use different points in a second. Also, greater than means shade above because it's bigger or higher. All right, so shade up. Now, the first point is going to be at -5, so down 5 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But as you remember from the Nearpod, when we graph these, if it's just greater than or just less than, we used open circles on the number line. So I'm going to stick with that and do open circles because it's not equal to. Now I'm going to rise and run. So I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. Once I get enough of those, I can go down 2 and left 1, down 2 and left 1. So I've got my positive slope. Very important to know that this is positive. It's going up as it goes to the right. Where the last one was a negative slope because it was coming down as it goes to the right. Still seeing that not done correctly. So make sure you have the right type of slope when you're done. Next up, we haven't graphed any answers yet. Those points are not answers because they're open circles. None of those actually work. I'm also going to do a dotted line to connect them. And still, there's no answers because a dotted line does not include any of our answers. So where are all of the answers? They're all above that line. So what does above mean? Well, look at the y-intercept. It was -5. What values are above -5? These ones, right? -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All of those are bigger than 5, so shade on this side of the line. Now there's a lot of different ways you can shade. I prefer kind of just that crisscrossy pattern, just with the lines. I do not really recommend the pencil shading where you kind of put some pencil marks and you take your finger and smudge it and just kind of make that side darker. It is definitely more difficult to see the solution area, and when we do more than one inequality on the same graph, it'll become even more difficult to tell where the answers are. Okay, so that is it. That is how to graph inequalities.